Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Screenwrite after what has been about a 1-2 month hiatus. Woo, yeah. This used to be a show that I produced in that room over there, which, if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can't see, but whatever. Um, and now we've decided we're going to switch it over to the podcast version. And today we are looking at Elf, directed by Jon Favreau in 2003, and starring Will Ferrell, James Caan, and Zoe Deschanel. Zoe or Zooey, or I'm not really sure how to pronounce her name.
It's gotta be Zoe.
It's Zooey. So
It's gotta be Zoe.
I would
Zooey
think
Mama.
Zooey.
Zoe! Sorry.
No, Zooey Mama. She's probably heard that so much. I would feel so bad, but in the top right corner, he may be covered in cat hair, but he still smells good. It's
Hey.
Dion.
All
Hey, see?
right, that's good. That's pulling one off the vault right
Yeah.
there.
Oh wow,
Okay,
yours is so
that's
nice.
good.
I wonder what mine could be.
That was good. I like that one.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am covered in cat hair, but I still smell good.
Yes. Or if this is what the bleep, you're covered in bleep, but you still
You covered in.
that that was probably like the best one from that. For
It was.
anyone,
So random.
yeah, for anyone here who's wondering, this
Oh
is
my
some
god, sorry.
old moments from the past. But she uh thinks that the capital of Pennsylvania is Badgley. Give it up for Lauren.
That was good.
Okay.
That was good.
See, this is great. I'm a great host.
That
That
was
should
good.
have
That was
been.
a
I
nice
mean,
one.
honestly, they might have to rename it after
For
that.
real.
Yeah.
Badly, bro.
What's the current capital? Who cares?
What is the current capital? Is it
Who
Philly?
I
cares?
don't think anybody cares
It's
about
Badgley.
Pennsylvania, to be honest. It's
Good point.
definitely Badgley.
Good point. To my friends from Pennsylvania listening to this, you're invalid simply. Um, But as we mentioned, we are looking at Elf today. I know some of you guys are probably anticipating for us to look at Star Wars Episode 6, nope, not Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. That will likely be next week when this airs, but we figured we're coming back to the Screenwrite. Tomorrow's Christmas, if this goes up on Christmas Eve, like I'm anticipating it will. And we figured, ho ho ho, let's do Elf. Fun little Christmas movie. We are going to be rating it. We are, I believe, the only podcast that's rating stuff. Probably not, but I'm gonna say it so we seem special. Um, why not? Um, but yeah, Elf released in 2003. Very stacked cast that many people consider to be uh, the Christmas movie that you have to watch each year. And for me, this is probably my millionth time watching it, but for Dion and Lauren here, this is their first time having watched it. We just got done watching it, so tell me how do you guys general reactions? How did you feel about this classic, if you will?
You first, Lauren?
All right. I genuinely think that was a very good movie. I have never I know it's wild, but I have literally never seen that movie before. And I thought it was like just one of those movies that the old people like for nostalgia. I think it was actually like a good movie.
Yeah, I,
Let me tell you, this movie is a banger. This movie is great. Great Christmas movie. Actually funny. Like Lauren, I thought it was just one of those movies that people were just like, they love because they watched it every year since they was a kid. But it was actually some funny parts in here.
mhm,
It was great. You could tell it was meant for adults and for kids as well.
mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I will say that I compared to other Christmas movies, like how on Christmas that one network shows a Christmas story for 24 hours. Um,
Yeah.
like why? Like no one wants to see it. It's just like oh, look, this was 19 what 70 probably that movie came out. So
Mhm.
it was good. It's a classic to people in our generation, I guess. Um, to everyone, it's a fun
Mhm.
movie. Will Ferrell's a funny person, um, and it definitely proves it in this movie. But does that mean that it's a good movie? Probably. Uh, so without further ado, let's do what we always do in the screenwrite, which is always starting at looking at the screenplay of the movie. I'll take us through some plot points, and we'll kind of just elaborate and talk about some funny moments. So we start with Papa Elf, who I just learned today that was his name. Kept thinking to myself, what's his name? It's just Papa Elf. Um, he narrates and tells us where we are. We move into the credits, and then we see a scene of a little baby at an orphanage crawling into Santa's bag and somehow making it back to the North Pole. So, he gets there, he grows up, his name is Buddy, and we find out, he's not like the other elves. He's built different. Um, my first question that I want to ask is, how did he not die in the sack? Like, you, I'm just saying,
That's a
Christmas
very
magic.
good. That's a very good point.
Christmas, yeah, Christmas magic. Just freaking going into a bag with a bunch of miscellaneous toys, likely getting crushed, making the way around the world, and coming back to the North Pole unscratched. You know,
Yeah, no, that doesn't make sense at all.
yeah.
But Christmas magic.
Yes, Chris.
Also, how long has Santa been off his A game that he didn't notice a baby was in his bag?
Right?
That's a very good point.
Like,
He
dude,
just he said, "What's that? There's a whole baby in your car, bro."
he, he, li- he literally just crawls out of the bag and Santa's like, "Oh, that sucks." Also, can another thing because I watched this 2 weeks ago. How was no one at the orphanage like? We just lost a baby. There
No,
was a
for
baby
real.
here
Did
and
they?
it's
Did that?
gone.
Did that ever circle back around?
I don't think
No.
so.
So it's literally just a lost baby.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
How did? Hmm.
It's
And she literally said, "I hope we can find someone to adopt you." Then he goes
That's
missing the next day.
yep.
She's
intense.
just like, "Okay."
Yo,
All
there should be like
right.
wanted posters or something. Not like wanted, but like missing kid posters or something.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And granted, they didn't show that, so maybe like they probably did. I know it's a Christmas movie, but like if you think about the logistics, it's just like there's a lot of problems that arose out of this. Is
Yeah, no,
Santa
that's not
technically kidnapping by not returning the baby? Like, I'm
Is
just
he
technically.
saying.
allowed to return the baby?
I don't know.
Like,
Well,
is Santa like only allowed when it's Christmas time?
I don't. Well,
Mm.
he'd probably be thrown in jail. Hey, this baby.
Oh my god.
I'm returning him. He just magically came home with me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Oof.
but but it's it's what happens. So Buddy finds out he's not like the other elves. He's underperforming and makes 85 toys. Etch a sketches when his quota is 1,000. He gets stuck into the special elves area where he has to check Jack in the boxes, and then he overhears a conversation where he finds out he's not an elf. Whoa. Plot
Mad
twist.
disrespectful.
Plot twist. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Like, you're two elves talking to each other about a human, and you're like, I don't know. I'm surprised he hasn't found out. This stupid bitch over here can't figure out he's not a human.
Like, I really thought elves were meant to be like nice people, but the way they were talking about my dude was kind of disrespectful, bro.
Mm.
Guys, let's be for real. Dude's like 6'3" and can play for the Brooklyn Nets. Dude, at what point was he gonna realize that like he was special? to some degree. Like, bro is literally like the tallest person in the North Pole, taller than
Okay,
Santa.
but with that logic, at what point should Tarzan have figured out he wasn't a freaking animal?
Well,
I ain't gonna, no, no, that's different. That's different. That's
How is that
different
different? How is
because
that different?
Tarzan, like animals, was beating up other animals and winning. Now, if he sucked, that'll be different. But
But
see,
he
Tarzan
looks
was winning.
he's
nothing like
not
them.
built different.
He's built
Fit.
like the quite opposite of the monkey.
But
What do
listen,
you mean?
listen. Tarzan was winning in being an animal because he was that guy. Elf
Tarzan was not that guy.
Buddy was not winning at being an elf because he was a human and didn't have elf traits. It's a bit different. It's a bit different.
Yeah,
A bit different.
he's taking small showers.
Yeah,
Um,
like
he's
I don't know how I feel about this. Y'all disrespecting my man. I'm
pray
gonna be
for
honest.
Papa Elf's lap. By the
yeah.
way,
Honestly, probably broke a
bro
few bones.
has no feeling in his legs.
Just numb. Um, yeah. So speaking of Papa Elf, um, by the way, the Jack in the Box scene, very classic, very fun. Um, but Papa Elf, I don't know why I brought that up. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Um, but Papa Elf tells Buddy that, I'm not your real dad. Also, did he not think that he had a mom? Like, did he just think Papa Elf? Okay,
Oh, I think it was. I felt like that was because like they said the dad didn't even know he existed. So I guess there was something like he wanted to meet someone who didn't know he existed
right, right,
because he knows. Obviously, when they said like I'm adopted, he knew what that meant.
right. So
So I feel like he knows the mother knows he exists, but when they said the dad has no idea who he is and is on the naughty list, he got a little curious.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think the mother is dead. I think. I just if it's just for me. He thought Papa Elf was his dad. Who do you think his mom was? Did he think he had a mom?
I think when you grow up like that, I think he just isn't aware.
Yeah, that's
You
a
didn't
good
even
point.
think of
Like
it.
I don't think he even think. Yeah, I don't think that's like even a thought that he has.
Good point. I'm just over here.
Like logically, on like if we're going logical right here. Also, he still was, even if he wasn't an elf, he still was different because he's like what, like 30 in the thing.
Right.
He's like 30.
Yep.
The other 30-year-old elves had it together pretty, locked in, and he was
Hmm.
still kind of like childlike.
Right.
So even still, he's still a bit different in that way. So he probably never questioned where his mom was because he's not like there yet.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm thinking the real things, even though this is clearly a surreal movie, I guess.
Hmm.
Um, but Um, yeah, that was just something small that I had thought about. Um, but yeah, so that Papa Elf lets Buddy know who his real dad is in New York City. Like you said, he's on the naughty list, which makes Buddy very upset. He screams. And Santa tells him like where he is and like someone doesn't always have to be on the naughty list. Like maybe all they need is Christmas spirit. So off Buddy goes to New York City. Um, in a very fun little sequence where we see a Newt Newt and a Narwhal. Um, and then the snowman guy isn't the snowman from like other things.
It's like they didn't they didn't have the license to use Frosty,
From
so they used
I see
Leon.
the snowman. I see the snowman.
Icy. Uh, yeah, Icy. Imagine, oh, that'd be cool. Have like a snowman of like those little slushy ices.
Oh, that
Just
would be cool actually.
he was blue raspberry. Um, that sounds actually really good. Um, but yeah, so he sets off on a little. He jumps onto an iceberg, which makes the iceberg just break off magically. And then he sets sail towards New York from the North Pole, um, which, you know, that's quite the trek to do with no food or. And he says he does it overnight, which is another funny thing. I don't know if anyone picks up on, but um, you
I
could.
didn't catch that actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't either.
he said it a little bit after, like, I traveled all day and night, and that was something like that. But the
I
raccoon
love
scene,
that. I
yeah,
love that. That was like his first introduction to like the real world.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
and I was just gonna say he like thinks it's a real person or something he can communicate with. Which I mean, I guess if you can talk to penguins and narwhals, talking to a raccoon isn't that far out there.
Good
Um,
point. Good point.
yeah. Um, and then so he goes through the woods. We see him go through the Lincoln Tunnel, I think it was, and then magically he's in New York City. He's found his way. He finds his dad, and he says hi to him. What about this scene?
Bro, I'm gonna be real. That dad, that dad was like foul.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a. I don't know what I would have done, to be honest. Maybe I would have acted like the dad, but if a grown man comes in my thing saying he's an elf, and then he starts singing about how I didn't even know he existed and he's my kid, maybe, I don't know, maybe I would have stopped to listen just a little bit more.
especially when you say, "Yeah, my mom was your ex-girlfriend."
Yeah, like he knows vital pieces of information.
Yeah, like he's not just a.
guys, guys, listen. You got
Oh,
just all good
brother.
points.
Okay, okay.
The main thing that puts off the dad is the man is 30 years old in an elf costume. Literally, if he li- and all he can say is that he came from like the North Pole. Like literally, if there's like an ounce of anything like of commonality between the two people, he would have been like, okay, wait a second. But the man was so hyper fixated on his daddy and saying he loves his daddy and being in tights and a green get up from North and saying it's from North Pole, bro. I'll be like, bro, call security. Like, like you guys got to remember, the dad doesn't even know that Buddy
You're
exists.
right. Okay.
Right, right.
I don't know. I feel like he knows some vital pieces of information, though, bro.
Bro,
Like
bro's
he.
probably like, bro, who's trying to get me like off my game? Like, who's trying to like, who's researching
Okay,
me?
good
Fair,
point. Good
Who
point.
hired a
Good
fair,
personal
point.
fair.
Good
investigator
point. Very
to
good
come and
point.
mess
How
me
does this
up?
dude even know who I am?
Like,
Who knows
hello?
all
I
this information on me? Understood. Understood.
I publish children's books for a living, and right now someone's out to get me. Who's out to get me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a funny one though. It's a very I guess not ironic situation. Well, semi ironic. Uh, there's a bit of irony in the situation that you had this 30-year-old man acting like a child, saying that he's your child, but
hmm
he's a full blown adult technically through his standards. So, um,
Also, side note, one of my favorite parts from that little scene of him coming to New York was that Santa told him not to eat gum or candy off the street,
mhm,
but he never specified not eating candy off the railing.
mhm.
So this man goes to town on the chewed up bubble gum that people stuck on the railing.
Dude, I'm
And I
gonna
thought that was really
vomit.
funny.
I'm
That's
gonna
that
vomit.
was so disgusting, but I love that moment, and I love when he keeps going for flyers. Like, why does he want flyers? Um, it's just
Bro, it's
I
a
the more,
gift.
the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this dude really was off his rockers. Maybe I would have called the police.
yeah
Maybe I
yeah
would have
same.
called the police.
I will say though, from a writing point of view, the movie does really great to set up early, like just how messed up he is, like in
Hmm.
a in a real world context. Um, I know that's it's usually the opposite that will have a normal person like all of us be thrown into a foreign environment and they have to adapt. But now it's a weird person being thrown into weird quote unquote being thrown into our society and having to deal with
Hmm.
security and the world's best coffee and people sticking gum on railings. So it's fun. It's clever. I love it. I'm here for it.
Hmm.
Like there was just a lot going on that I was not ready for.
Yeah, and it's weird because you think you should be prepared, but then a whole bunch of stuff happens that makes no sense. Like, especially like what happens next. So after Buddy gets kicked out from seeing his father Walter, um, at work, which apparently another funny thing. I just love how Buddy is able to get from the North Pole to the Empire State Building by just a simple snow globe. That's the only map he needed. Um,
Yeah.
Hey
honestly,
man, he's
work.
literally magic. He's
Yeah,
literally magic.
work. Fierce. Um, but yeah, so when he gets kicked out, the security guards tell him to go to Gimbel's, which is a department store, and he goes there, where he sees a special gift for a special someone, and he is about to buy it as a manager who I don't know if you picked up on. I just noticed it for the first time watching this. His name is Wanda. He has a name tag that says Wanda, Wanda on it, which, no shame, but I find that funny. It was just a very short little thing that you
Hmm.
barely noticed. Um, so Wanda, the manager, tells him to get back to work because he looks like an elf.
Yeah, that's crazy to me, man. Like, how are you just gonna assume someone who just walked in your store works for you? Considering you're the manager, wouldn't you know the people who work at your store?
Right.
That part. Also,
That
Buddy's
part.
Buddy's costume or his uniform looked like 10 times better than all the elves
Mm-hmm.
that were working in the store. So you should know what your employees look like. Like you should be like, oh, this guy's just dressed up as an elf and
Right.
kept it pushing.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, the he wasn't the smartest. No offense, sir,
but he
He
was funny.
but
Yeah, he
he was
wasn't the
mad funny,
smartest, but he was
bro.
very funny. Yeah. Uh, Definitely some great comedic. Of course, this is a whole comedy movie, but Wanda did. I I don't even know if that's his real name. Um, have any of you guys ever seen?
Just today.
Well, have you seen Superstore? Um,
No.
No, no.
it's in the. It used to be on NBC. It was a comedy. And one of the main characters, Amy, she they worked at a store market.
Mhm.
Um, and the gag was every episode she had a different name tag on. So I don't know if that's what
Oh,
they were
that's
going
mad funny.
for, but yeah. So I'll just call him Wanda, and if I'm wrong, comment
Okay.
section can yell at me. It's fine. Um, so uh, it puts him to work. He meets Jovi, which is this very cute girl that he's very attracted to. Um, he There's the whole no singing in the North Pole, and then Buddy is like, but there is singing in the North Pole, and this little fight between Wanda and Buddy kind of tickles Jovi. She's like, oh, that's funny. That's kind of cute, quirky. Um, from there, they go home, but Buddy has nowhere to go, so he stays overnight. He completely redecorates the entire quote unquote North Pole, which was the certain section of the store where a Santa Claus was going to come tomorrow, the next day.
Hmm.
Um, and then the next day starts, and um, apparently this department store has showers in it, which
Crazy.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
wild.
I so okay, she says that her water was turned off or something like that at her apartment.
Hmm.
Would you if you worked at a department store and they had showers, would you shower at a department store?
Bro,
I won't
her
even
waters.
shower in public. I don't shower any place that other people use that isn't like my family. So I that is a hard no because I am just stuck up like that. But
Yeah,
Bro, her water's turned off. She has no running water in her apartment.
fair.
She don't got a choice.
Fair.
It's either that or just not bathe.
does
I
she have
mean,
no friends?
even if she did, that would. I mean, it's probably like a hassle to get to their friend and
And
to
good
take a shower to get to work.
honestly, I don't think those showers are used very often, so they're probably clean.
Mm,
Facts.
Because nobody
facts.
really showers in a department store, so maybe I would. Maybe I was thinking like I just go to like somebody else's house, but maybe yeah, maybe I would because if they're
Hmm.
clean and like
Yeah,
only allowed by employees, I hope it's not like a
Facts.
public thing because I really don't. The way it was looking, she said the girls' locker room,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
so I'm not sure what
Which
type of department store we're in,
do they have a swimming
but
pool?
yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's a very interesting moment, and I get why they wanted it. It was either like, how can we make this happen that we isolate the two? So,
Yeah,
um,
Hmm.
I think for writing purposes, it's the most logical, even if it is a jump. But yeah. So imagine it's 6 in the morning. You're at work. You're taking a shower there, and then all of a sudden you're singing in the shower, and another voice just joins in.
I'm calling the cops.
Cops. Yep.
I'm immediately calling the cops. Like I'm so
Literally,
serious.
literally through that whole sequence, I was like, first of all, bro, this man is a towering giant, and he
Yep.
followed her around the store his entire first day there, being like, just being him.
Yep.
And then you find the man in the shower, bro. He's getting maced, like he's getting punched in the face, all of it. I'll be so scared.
Yeah, I'm surprised she
Yeah.
like kept talking to him afterwards.
Yep. Um.
That's like an immediate HR calling.
Yeah. To our young listeners out there, and even to our single adult listeners like me, for example, that is not how you flirt or anything. That
Yeah, definitely
is
not.
illegal, probably. Definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely
Hmm.
illegal. Don't follow people into a restroom.
Preach.
I'm just gonna
Preach.
stop it there. Like, I don't.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
There's nothing more to say.
Um.
Just don't do it.
Yep.
yes,
Yeah.
But
yes.
our good friend Jovi just thinks he's a little quirky and speaks to him the next day. Um. So they speak, and she was like, "Why were you in there?" And he was like, "Oh, I like your singing voice," which, you know, another red flag. Um, if someone said that, I'd be like, "No, that's not why you were there." But whatever. The fake Santa comes, um, and Buddy's like, "Oh my God, Santa!" because he knows Santa. Then he
Hmm.
realizes it's not Santa. So this leads to a fight, and Buddy gets arrested. Um, ha- fake Santas, mall Santas. How do you
Hmm.
feel? Some people were scared of them as a child. Um, for
Did you
Spotify
know
listeners,
what you said? Wait, who was scared of what? Sorry.
um, people are scared of mall Santas.
Mm,
Um, I was as a kid.
It's
Um,
okay. Dion was scared of Oompa Loompas.
What was valid?
yeah.
I never was scared of mall Santas.
Yeah, I was never scared. I was scared of like Elmo.
Ooh.
Like not like specifically Elmo, but like those people who would dress up in costumes as the character. So
Mm.
like
Oh,
they're just like 6 foot freaking like a 6 foot Elmo.
No,
Yeah, that's terrifying. Like that.
that's
That I literally started like sobbing.
I would, yeah, yeah, I would do the same. Yep.
Now, can we talk about Buddy's the way his entire dial like the way his entire way he talked changed when he saw Fake Santa. Bro was getting dicey.
Mm-hmm.
Bro was getting straight dicey with Santa. Like he was not messing with this fake Santa. He was like, you're disgusting. You're
Mm-hmm.
scum. Like he was not feeling it. Bro,
You went from
bro,
the nicest little dude to just disrespect.
he he chose violence.
for real.
He really did. Um, well, fake Santa chose violence too because he took like a full-on pipe and started swinging at him, breaking
Hmm.
the Lego
Oh,
set.
true.
Also, child acting
Oh my god.
is always like really good or really bad. It's funny watching those kids scream, but they have huge smiles on their face because they know they're on camera. They know that they're
Yeah,
being
parents are
recorded.
like, "All right, smile."
Yeah,
They're just like,
Hmm.
"Okay."
yeah, and they're just screaming, trying to act scared, but they look like they're really excited. Uh, Very funny moment, but
Hmm.
yeah. Uh, so he gets arrested, and Walter takes him for a DNA test, where the doctor guy that is the director, John Favreau. Um, and if anyone here is a Marvel fan, he's Buddy. So um,
Ironic.
yeah, I don't know if that was ever intentional. Um, but he's oh no, he's happy. He's not Buddy. He's happy.
Oh, we're stupid. Yep.
Um, oh well, it's the same thing. Whatever, Buddy, happy, mean the same thing basically. Um, but yeah, so they do a DNA test. We get a very funny scene with Will Ferrell getting his finger pricked, then screaming, and we find out that Walter Hobbs. Can anyone here be Maury Povich for me?
You are the father. Dion, start running.
Whoa, yeah. And then someone else start dancing in front of the crowd.
Oh my god. I'll be the cameraman. I'll just be like,
Backflips.
I
Maury
told you was the daddy. I told you. I told you.
Maury
Where
"You
my
ain't
child
Povich.
tell
support
me
at?
nothing. You ain't
Where my
tell
child
me
support at?
nothing. You
Run me
tell.
them
I
checks.
want to
You
hear it.
6 months
I want to
behind in
hear
my
it."
child support checks. I need my money.
Maury starts breakdancing. Uh, but yeah, so we find out Walter's the father, and he's like, all right, well, this is my kid. Guess I'll take him home, and probably the most responsible thing he'll do, um, actually take home his child. Um, so we get a lot of exposition here. Um, Michael, the kid, who's
Hmm.
Walter's other son, doesn't really like him um, because he's putting syrup on things. He's burping after
Such
chugging a
an
whole
odd
thing.
reason to not like somebody. Like
Right?
putting syrup on things. Like you really chose that as your final straw.
Yeah. Well, it was also the burp, the
That burp was
Coca-Cola burp.
long.
It
That burp
was.
was disgusting.
hmm do you want me to try? I am holding Diet Coke for the viewers.
All right.
Not actually going. Oh, okay. Lauren has left the chat. um, it's fine. I'm long past this making me burp. Um, it's what happens when you're an addict. But so doesn't
Oh.
I'm addicted to Diet Coke. We know this. We can talk
Mhm.
about my Diet Coke addiction all day. Which, by the way, that burp this might be a Mandela effect, but most people I know that burp to be longer than it actually is. That they actually cut it to make it shorter. I'm not
No way.
I'm not sure if that's actually true, but a lot of people, including myself, remember um, that the burp was actually much longer than that.
It's Will Ferrell. I'd believe it, to be honest.
Fair. Well, it's I think it's cut in. I'm not sure he actually did it. I think he just has his. If you rewatch that scene, it's very clear that his mouth is just open, and they
Yeah.
put the sound over it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm not sure if he actually did the burp, but who knows? Um, but very funny scene. Um, Michael, like I said, doesn't initially like him, and then obviously Walter doesn't. But the mother, whose name I also forget, and I think most people do, also is willing to give him a try. You know,
Yeah.
take
As
it.
a mother does, the motherly love.
Yeah,
Sweet.
honestly, this is my husband's kid or boyfriend. I'm not really sure. I think husband. Um,
Husband.
This is my husband's kid, who isn't my kid. He's 30 years of age, but I'm still willing to take him in.
Hmm.
So, honestly, props. Good
Yeah.
person. Can't say I'd do the same. You're
What?
30. If they're 30 years old,
You wouldn't take them in?
if they're 30,
Are they your kid though?
There you.
if okay, then but not remember, he's not her kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
But
see what you're saying, but like at the same
she's
time, it's
I don't
like
know. I feel like she has a weird like not like weird, but she like I don't know, man. I
the
feel like I
way
see a
the
kid like, as a kid, you know.
That's fair.
yeah, and the way the husband was very, very open about it, like from the jump, like, I got a kid, honey.
Yep.
She's like, okay, like, well,
Yeah.
obviously not trying to hide it from me
Yeah.
because he didn't know himself. So she's probably like, let's see what this dude's about.
Yeah, which is fine. I would of course take him in and let him stay a few days if he needed it, but
Few
just
days. That man needs a bunch of days. He's a little deranged.
yeah, just a little. Um, but this is all for comedy purposes anyway. Um,
Mm.
so take him in, and then Buddy gets bored one day and waits for Michael as he leaves school. Calls him and it's like, "Hey, buddy, it's your brother." And apparently that's embarrassing because uh, middle school or
I
Hmm.
think it's
whatever.
embarrassing because he's dressed as an elf.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. Good point. Um, and Michael gets mad because he got embarrassed, and so they go home. Michael's mad, and then a bunch of kids start throwing snowballs at the two of them as they walk through Central Park. And
Hmm.
freaking Buddy
He has a
snowball
cannon,
machine.
Buddy is a freaking G, my guy.
Hmm.
man,
Yeah, this man
man.
takes a million snowballs and starts hurling them at these kids, probably killing them. I would count
Okay,
them as
okay.
Oh,
It's a snowball.
okay. Maybe not that, but there was velocity.
yeah.
If
Those things were
anything,
getting launched.
if anything, it was self defense.
Yeah,
Fair,
They
but
quite literally attacked them first.
valid.
listen, all I'm gonna say is, Buddy has some talents,
Hmm.
Mm,
and if the family were to see those talents and get on board quick, like he could have been like a holiday designer,
Hmm.
the way he hooked up that store, or a baseball player, the way he was throwing those snowballs.
Yeah,
He could have easily gone pro.
yeah,
Just need a little backing.
yeah.
if
If
he had none.
yeah, honestly, it could be a baseball player, pitcher.
Hmm.
Throw so
It's like
many
Forrest Gump. Like he was just a natural runner.
fair.
Like he was just running because he forgot why he was running and he just kept going. Like Mans is insane.
I will say that would have been very funny if just halfway through the movie after that scene, Michael's like, "Wow, you're great at baseball," and then suddenly this became a baseball movie. Just
That would
I
have been
I
switch.
wouldn't
funny.
be like shocked.
Yeah, it would have been shocking, but would have been fun. Um, and
It would
then
have been fun.
suddenly the movie ends with him winning the World Series for the
Oh
team.
my god.
Um,
He could do it.
he could, he could. Um, But anyway, this little snowball fight wins the respect of Michael, who suddenly likes him. They start having fun and running around. the city. They go back to Gimbals, and Buddy says that he likes Jovi, asks her out, and they agree to go on a date. How cute. Um, which we'll see in a few. But the next day, Walter, in a weird turn, I'm not really sure why, uh, or if they ever explained it. But Walter takes Buddy to work.
Oh,
Yeah,
they said why. It was
yeah. He didn't
yeah,
want him
because
there
yeah, the
alone.
first day
Oh,
he was there,
right.
he had like all the sugar and
Yeah,
stuff, so they were like, he can't stay at home.
that's right. So I'm not sure if taking him to work would have been the second best alternative, but you do what you gotta. Um,
Hmm.
so they take him. Walter takes him to work, and very quickly gets annoyed, sticking him
Hmm.
into the mailroom with a bunch of uh, hmm, how do I phrase this? People who are trying to get back on their feet.
Yeah.
Um, and very interesting sequence. Um, but he gets drunk, which
Yeah, man gets lit.
yeah. I'm very surprised. We know apparently Buddy is a "I love you, man" kind of drunk. Um,
Of course. Could you imagine if he was like angry?
yeah, imagine.
Just be so out of character. Like he just like starts cursing people out, and his name's Buddy. First of all, like,
No,
that's disrespectful.
he goes and finds that fake Santa.
Oh, gets serious with them
Yeah,
too.
that would have
That would
been
be
fun.
great.
Yeah,
They could not have done that in that movie, bro.
no, they
That
No,
couldn't.
would, like, oh my god.
they
We need
should
a
have
redone.
though.
We need a remade version for adults,
Oh, he
just
goes
so we can watch the beef.
he goes back into the street and starts hopscotching again, but he can't do it straight, and the cop comes or something. I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sobriety
Buddy goes to
hopscotch.
jail,
God,
but
Hmm.
like again.
again, yeah. Oh God.
That is
But
funny.
is Buddy more violent than we actually think he is? I mean, he does have a
Nah,
little. No,
Mm-mm.
he's not. Yeah.
Buddy's not
That man's
violent.
literally like a cotton ball, exactly like the ones he was munching on.
I th-
That's literally him.
Why was he munching on cotton balls? How did he even eat those? Like, how did he
yeah.
swallow that?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy, but I just don't see how that could have
They're
worked.
so dry.
I especially like cotton
Without syrup, too.
cotton candy. Which, by the way, if anyone thinks cotton and cotton candy are like similar in any way, it's just the texture. Absolutely no other reason. It's literally just sugar spun. Um, but like that's why with cotton candy you can swallow it. It's because it's sugar and it dissolves in your mouth. Cotton is like a very strong fiber. How are you gonna swallow it
Yeah.
and digest it?
Oh man,
Especially he had it to his bloody finger.
Oh, I didn't even think about
that
that.
was nasty.
I
Yeah,
didn't think about that.
man is a vampire. Um,
That's disgusting.
yeah. But you know, he works in the mailroom. He dances to "Whoop, There It Is." Um, by the way, I don't know if you picked up on this, but that guy in the mailroom he was talking to said he was 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
No, right?
no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I was like, huh. Hmm, in-
Who are
No.
we
interesting.
to judge?
Right. I
No,
don't know if
honestly.
that's supposed to be a part of the humor or if that was just like a bad writing
What if the
decision.
actor is actually 26?
He forgot his. Well, the actor's 26.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I doubt it,
You know,
but
people age differently.
they do. They do.
Maybe he's problematic.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
aging terribly.
Maybe he. Yeah. I- Imagine he's watching this. He's like, "Wow, I was actually like 23 there." Um,
I didn't say it.
hey, I did. I'm sorry.
Wait, I want to
Uh,
point something out really quickly though.
yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
when they were drunk and they were talking about age, Buddy said Papa Elf didn't become head tinker until it was like what 495 or something,
hmm
Yeah.
and so he's been head tinker for like many years after that. So I'm like, how long do elves live?
I don't know. Apparently, hundreds of, if not thousands of years.
I don't
That
think
was
elves
wild.
die.
Do they? I don't
I
know.
don't think
I don't
elves
know.
die.
We know there's baby elves.
We know
Yeah.
there's baby elves, and we saw some old elves, and they said he was too old to raise a kid himself, but he looked like he been around for a while. I think they don't die. Or if they do die, they just turn into like dust or something. I don't know.
Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
add to the
Yeah.
Christmas people.
Yeah. Christmas magic. It's all magic.
Mhm.
Imagine that's all you needed to live in eternity. Just move up to the North Pole and become one with the elves. That's all. They'll take care of you. Um,
That would be nice.
I'm gonna be honest, one of the funniest lines in that show was when he was talking to the short guy
yep.
and he was like, "Dang, he must be from the south."
Yep.
I thought that was funny. I was
Must be
like,
a
"Oh my
South
god,
Pole.
he must be from the South Pole, bro."
Which, speaking of the that's Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he looked
Um,
very familiar.
yep. His name is Miles Finch in this movie, and he gets called up because there's a whole subplot during the movie that um, Walter approved a children's book that was missing 2 pages, and because of that, it had terrible sales, and the big boss
Mhm.
man got angry. Um, and was like, I need a better book by December 24th. And so they call in Miles Finch, who is this big time writer of children's books. Um, and yeah, they bring him in. So Buddy goes on a date. How do you guys feel about the date? I think it's a fun little normal sequence. Um,
Yeah,
I think it's
I like.
cute.
yeah,
Yeah, he took her to all the stuff he found interesting when he
mhm.
first arrived in New York,
it's
which was
the
cool.
it's the world's best coffee. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of funny coming full circle moments.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then we see the Rockefeller tree, and then they kiss. And for this, Buddy falls in love. He goes back to work and just barges in on this meeting with Miles Finch. He's like, "Dad, I'm in love," which, Christmas movie. Um,
Yeah.
you gotta make love happen somehow. Um, So he falls in love, and Buddy sees Miles Finch, who is uh what's what's the appropriate term? Little person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
who is a little person, and this makes and probably what's wouldn't fly in terms of comedy nowadays. Uh, maybe would. Definitely wouldn't. Um, uh, Buddy says, "Oh, it's an elf," and keeps calling him Elf. And then Miles Finch absolutely decks him. He's twisting his arm, sliding him across the table. Which you gotta admit, that's a very funny sequence. It's
That drop kick was
yep,
serious.
Yeah, he was going
hmm
crazy.
yep. Watching this innocent person grown up in the North Pole just get
And
absolutely
I
decimated.
like at some points I felt bad because he was like, "Call me Elf again." He was like, "What am I doing wrong?"
Yeah,
Like he
Elf.
genuinely didn't know what he was doing
Yeah,
wrong.
it's it's great comedy, really well written. Uh, yeah, call me Elf one more time. You're an elf. it's
Like he was just doing what he was
yep,
asked. I felt so bad for him.
yeah, it's great, and of course he doesn't know. But this
Hmm.
gets Miles mad. He leaves the meeting without them writing a book. Um, and then Walter gets really mad that this opportunity he had just walked out the door. So he's like, "Goodbye, you're not my son. Get out of here." Um, then we see him have a little remorse, Buddy goes home. He runs away. Michael finds the note, and now he's barging in on meetings. So uh, the whole thing is Miles left his notebook behind, and Walter and the group steal his ideas, which is illegal. It's
Yeah.
plagiarism. Sorry. Um,
Yeah.
so they steal his ideas, storyboard it, and present it to the big other angry, or not other, but the big angry boss who said he would be there on Christmas Eve. And they're like, oh, I'm mad. Show me a story. So as Walter is about to do it, Michael arrives and is like, Buddy ran away. And Walter, who has already been expressing remorse, says, bye, I'm leaving work. I'm quitting my job. Which, good on
Mhm.
him. I wouldn't
Yeah.
put up with that either. My son just ran away, and you're like, nope.
I don't know. It's a growth moment for him for sure because he
Yeah,
was just all about his work at first.
yeah. He said, like, up yours or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, another side note, um, Buddy is way too good at using an Etch a Sketch. He did
Right?
the Mona Lisa,
Mm
and he leaves all of his notes in really nice font
hmm.
on the Etch a Sketch. Makes it crazy,
Well, then
crazy. That's
again,
talented.
he manufactures them.
True,
He made
true.
those every day, and I think that's why they like made him do the etch a sketch, because
Yeah,
he's
true.
like proficient in it, even if he's not proficient. Um, but yeah, good point. It's very funny because you can just take out a piece of paper and write down that you're running away, but instead you opt for that. So there's a lot of coming full circle in this movie, and I
Hmm.
appreciate
Hmm.
that. Um, so they leave to go find him. Walter loses his job. And then suddenly, from out in the sky, Santa comes crashing down into Central Park.
Yes, sir.
Buddy sees it, which apparently no one else in the world sees it. Well, they do. That's why they
Hmm.
have camera people going. Um,
Yeah.
but apparently, Buddy and Walter and Michael are the only three people in the world to investigate it. So they go find Santa, um, and this is where Walter and Michael really start to realize, oh, this guy's not full of shit. He is an
Yeah.
elf from the North Pole.
No, for real. On that part, Angle, I thought when Santa's, he said his little closet meter hit zero.
Yep.
Hmm.
Was that because Buddy like lost all hope and because his dad yelled at him and stuff? Is that why it hit
That's
finally
what
hit
I
zero?
thought.
Was like Buddy like the last leg of Christmas spirit?
I guess so. They don't really accurately explain it.
Mm,
Which also goes into what we'll see later, which is apparently Walter's one singing voice was the whole difference between some power and then just all of the power for the sleigh.
yeah.
The clausometer or whatever. Um, yeah, so they don't really explain it too well, but I think that's what happens. Um,
Hmm.
So they fix the sleigh, and then we also get this weird thing with the New York or the Central Park Rangers, who are
Hmm.
apparently very upset that they're on the naughty list. Um, which so they believe in Santa apparently, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, which I don't really know how that works for me. It feels like it was they just needed a way to try to like create drama. Um,
Hmm.
I think it was over dramatized how they showed the Rangers on their horses who are specially trained and they haven't seen action since the 1980s. Which, if that's true, I'm pretty sure those horses would be, you know, dead. Um,
Well,
oh well,
they'll be
no,
like,
2003.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking now, so I guess not.
yeah.
But yeah, they're shown on the cliff. Apparently, there's lightning. I don't
Yeah,
know. How
honestly,
how do you guys feel? Yeah.
it
I
was
don't
weird.
know. Yeah, it
It
was
was weird
weird.
because like they're not supposed to know Santa exists. That was the whole thing Santa was saying. No one's
Yep.
supposed to know he exists.
Mhm.
Yet they had a straight vendetta for Santa,
Mhm.
so much so that they passed up on the guy dressed as Santa to go to the real Santa. Like they knew exactly who to go for.
Mhm.
So I don't know. That was weird.
Maybe Santa's like a maybe that's like a joke that went over our heads.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe there's something more there. Like I don't know. I feel like there's got to be something more there. Like
Right.
maybe Santa. It feels like they were playing like a board game or something. He like burned them out of money or something like that. They had like a vendetta
Poker.
against that man. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that wasn't like a.
Especially because they knew that Walter wasn't Santa. They just
Hmm.
went past him, even though he was trying to distract them. It was just very weird. And then you have the police officer who was like, "Yep, no Santa, no sleigh."
it
It's like
was that was weird.
it's just it gets to the point where like the ending seems to have been rushed to be put together. Which it
Hmm.
still works. You know, it's the whole story of Santa being in distress, trying to get him out of there. But it's kind of like the film does make a lot of cheap options or take a lot of cheap routes to try to get the story where it needs to be. Like, uh, Buddy and Jovi in this locker room singing together,
Hmm.
apparently, uh, showers in a department store to this. So there are some cheap moments like that, but overall it works. In my opinion, you guys might see it differently. I'm not so sure.
The only thing is, this entire movie, I thought that Buddy was gonna help his dad write a kid's book because he's like an elf. He knows a lot about kids.
Yep.
So I figured he would help write a kid's book, but he didn't. So that was the only thing.
Well, at the end they do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like one that wasn't like not just about a
Oh,
retelling of
yeah.
Buddy's life.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yep. Um, which, yeah, by the way, speaking of that, uh, so they start to have Christmas spirit come back. Buddy fixes the engine on the sleigh, and Michael, seeing the skateboard that he had asked for in Santa's bag, also gives him uh, more proof and creates Christmas spirit. Um, and then um, Michael takes the naughty and nice book to the cameras and says what everyone wants, and then people are like, "Oh wow, that is actually what I want," and it helps to um, drive the or bring up the clausometer in Christmas spirit. We get a funny moment where Michael finds the newscaster's name and says like, "Oh, you want a diamond ring or a Tiffany's ring or something like that, and for your boyfriend to just propose and stop being a little bitch, basically."
Yeah.
Um, which was funny. But so this gives the sleigh some power, but not enough. And then Jovi comes to save the day. She remembers everything that Buddy has told her, which is that the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. So let me ask you guys: if a random woman started to sing, and then a few people started to sing in a crowd, you Santa Claus is coming to town. It makes sense that people would start singing and creating Christmas spirit. The whole world is apparently watching this one newscast. And also, they're apparently all in the groups that we knew them from. Everyone is at Gimbals at like midnight, which why? Um, People are still in the mailroom at midnight, which like why? At the bar makes sense, but just everyone around the world is starting to sing Santa Claus is coming to town together, and that gives the spirit that they need. Walter isn't singing, and Michael's like, "Hey, sing," and then Walter singing is like the big blast off that Santa needs. So Christmas is saved thanks to Buddy, um, and we see at the end Jovi and Buddy get, well, I guess they get married. Technically, that's what you're left to assume. They have a kid named Susie together, um, and they see Papa Elf where his legs get crushed once again. Uh, and yeah, Christmas is saved. Um, so that's the movie. Very classic Christmas tale. Um, Overall, what'd you guys think?
I think it was a great movie.
I do too.
I think overall it was just like a nice feel good Christmas movie that you just watch when you want to get in the Christmas spirit.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
It's very clear that this isn't a film that you're supposed to watch for the story. If you were, there would have been like some big twists and turns. It was clearly just a Christmas normal
Hmm.
movie that you're supposed to laugh at, and they nailed the comedy. It's comedy that still survives to this day. Very funny.
Hmm.
Slapstick at some moments, and just you, I think a lot of movies like this kind of fail with the secondhand embarrassment that you get from their characters, and even though you get that from um, Will Ferrell, Buddy here, I think the comedy lands uh, like 9.5 times out of 10. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, great movie. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely. Would you guys say that this is deserving to have survived as long as it has, or 19
100%.
years? Yep. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right about the comedy. The comedy's like it was still hidden. I was literally like laughing. That's
Mhm.
I like had myself. I was muted, but I was laughing so hard.
Mhm.
So the comedy's really good.
Yeah. And they know with even like the very small moments, like when Buddy's running out of the locker room, he runs into lockers face first and
Yeah.
falls over. They take like every single little last moment to add a little punchline, which I appreciate.
Mm.
Uh, and I think to that regard, this movie is very successful. So, um, I'll ask you guys what we do in the screenwrite is we take different categories and we rate out of 5 stars. For sound and editing, we do 3 stars. But I guess for screenplay to start on a scale of 1 to 5 or 0 to 5 stars, if you wanted, um, where would you rate Elf?
On screenplay.
Yeah, or just story, writing,
Hmm.
comedy. If you want me to start, I can too.
You go ahead, Matt.
Alright. I would personally do probably 4 stars out of 5. Like I said, Comedy lands 9.5 times out of 10. It's really great, really funny. We do have those moments where it's like, okay, a little bit cheap here, and also if you consider the realism too much, starts to eat away. But overall, very solid movie, very good, and maintains the test of time easily.
Yeah. I would give it. I would give it. I'm gonna be a little bit more harsher than I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Only because
Oh,
I'm a jerk
okay.
and the realism, the logic part was not logically sometimes.
yeah, that's fair. If it did logic, Buddy would have been dead many times,
Or in a psych ward.
or in the psych ward. Yes, that too. Um, Lauren.
I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to agree with Dion here.
Okay.
3.5 seems fair. It's like a little. It was definitely better than average,
Hmm.
and it was very good for a 2003 show.
Right.
So I mean movie. So I feel like it definitely deserves its title among the greats.
Yep. Yeah. So we'll stick it at a solid 3.5 stars, which I think that's a good rating. I just I didn't want to be harsh because I know some people will be like, "Oh my God, that's my favorite Christmas movie," but um, that I feel like some people will give it a higher rating just because of that factor of this is
Hmm.
the movie I grew up with, which is probably why I say 4 stars too. It's probably what factors
Hmm.
into it, but we'll give it a solid 3.5 stars. So now we can move into our more broader categories, which are costume design, acting, setting, and lighting. Lighting, let's start with the more, it's a boring category, but a very important one at the same time. I'm gonna start and just say 5 stars with lighting. It's well lit, and there's no like. The only reason I would take points away from lighting is if a scene is too dark or too bright or the colors don't work, but it works. It's
Yeah,
Christmas,
no, yeah.
snow, um, and I don't know if you guys would disagree with me, but
No, no. 5 stars is, I think, is good.
Yeah, it was a very good. It was.
yeah,
I didn't personally notice anything
yep,
because I feel like with lighting and stuff like that, it's like you either notice it or you don't.
exactly.
If you don't notice it, it's perfect. If you do notice it, it's wrong.
Right, exactly. Um, that's what I've always said. Like, I can't make a Star Wars reference because you guys probably won't know it, but in one of the Star Wars movies, there's two planets that are both sand planets, and they distinguish between the two by giving one a little bit of a darker lighting, and it doesn't really work because it's still very weird having like two. You're just discerning
Hmm.
based on lighting. That's like when I'd be like, okay, points taken off, but unless you're really fucking up the lighting, I think it's
Yeah.
an easy 5 stars. Um, so I guess going back on track to our regular run down the list, costume design. I will say I do have some thoughts on this, but I want to hear what you guys think first.
Uh, I would say the costumes. Not gonna lie, I I thought the costumes and stuff were a bit like goofy and like cartoonish, maybe, but I think that was like kind of the point.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't really have a problem with the costumes. And then like the people's clothing, it felt very like 2000s.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I will give it a 3.8
3.8.
because
Oh, I
I'm
forgot the
thinking
rating.
I gotta throw it back to the fact that this was 2003.
Yep.
Hmm.
Like that was peak for 2003. So I'm gonna give it a 3.8 only because I'm watching it now. I'm like, ooh. But at the same time, if I was watching it in 2003, I'd be like, that's a banger.
Yeah. Um, I'm going to give 3.5 stars. Um,
Mm.
because how do I put this? The when you put a man in tights, um, it's very revealing.
Yeah.
I think that they could have done some work down there to avoid that from happening, um,
Hmm.
and they didn't. So that's
My question is, how did you notice that?
after you watch it a million times, you do notice it a few times.
Mm.
I will say, of course, when you're a kid, you don't really notice it, and um, especially it's not that big of a deal. There are some moments though when it becomes obvious.
You said it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to make comments on Will Ferrell,
Oh my.
but I'm just saying maybe they even did do something and it just wasn't properly secured.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, you kind of just notice it after a while. That's why I
Yeah.
bring the rating down. But yeah, what rating would you give Dion?
Oh, not gonna lie, I disagree on the Tice thing, but I see what you're coming from. But they could have did like skinny jeans, like yellow skinny jeans or something, or yellow leather pants or something for the elves,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
But now that I'm thinking about it, I gave it slack because it was 2003. But those little elf vests look like the little felt you can get from Michaels for crafting. So now I'm gonna drop one down to like a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have the 3.8, a 3, and a 3.5. I guess we'll just round it out at 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just to be even. Next is acting, which I think was just great.
Mm-hmm.
Will Ferrell, great actor. Um, Definitely, I feel like Zoe Deschanel did a good job too. There were some moments that felt a little like, uh, give it a little more, mostly from Michael. No offense to him, but child acting is always a big thing in the film industry. Is like a kid actor can either make the movie or break it, and he did fairly well. So I think I would give acting like 4 stars, 4.5. Very well done, very great cast, and they did. I think they did a good job. I could be missing somewhere though.
Mm. From my non-film eyes, 5 out of 5.
5, yeah.
5 out of 5.
Yep. Lauren,
Yeah, I
5.
think I think 5 mainly because how can you give Will Ferrell anything less?
That's fair.
I like
That's
he
fair.
always delivers. I've genuinely felt like that man was from the North Pole.
That's very
Like
valid.
I can't disrespect Mr. Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
Keep rolling.
and then again, my brief concerns is like in 2 scenes when I felt like there wasn't like that much energy, and that's from one actor. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's unfair to bring down the rating to like 4 stars just because of a few scenes. So we'll go with 5 stars. I agree with you guys, especially like you said, Will Ferrell just kills this movie. It's his most iconic performance probably today. Um, so next up we have setting. I think it works. I
Mm-hmm.
love the North Pole. I love how they
Hmm.
made it like a little cartoony, like its own little
Yeah.
place. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's real, but it's not real at the same time. And yeah, I think they did well with New York too to make it a uh, yeah,
Yeah, no, valid. Yeah,
city.
valid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like it's always gonna be New York. So
Yeah,
right.
yeah. They,
Yep,
it's always gonna be New York. Screw every other state.
yep.
yeah. I was vibing with North Pole, like you, Matt. I was very much vibing with North Pole. I like how cartoonish it looked. At first, I
Mhm.
was like, "This looks horrible," but I was like, "Oh, that's like on purpose."
Yep.
So then I was like, "Okay, it's nice."
Yeah.
So yeah, 5 out of 5.
Yeah. It's a very nice contrast having the like rundown, not rundown city, because they definitely showed like the more
Mm-hmm.
built up, if you will, areas. But just like comparing those two areas was very smart. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Lauren, any objections?
No,
No.
once again, gotta agree. I feel like we're all on the same page with this movie.
Yeah. Yep. Um, yeah, I'm excited if we sometime down the line have a movie that we're just completely different ends of the spectrum.
Probably
That'll be
Star
fun.
Wars.
Probably. Uh, Very much probably.
Oh, I've never seen Star Wars, so it's gonna be. I'm gonna be brutally honest.
That's fine. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun one. I've seen it way too many times. But next up, we'll go into our smaller categories, which is sound and editing. Um, I guess to start with sound, we'll just go over these for a few minutes. Um, Sound. Any opinions?
Can't say I have
I
a strong one.
Yeah.
Surreal.
Well, when I say sound, I guess just to clarify, sound is like background music,
Mhm.
um, the way audio is synced, like voiceovers,
Mhm.
um, and then just like sometimes there's stuff with audio quality. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah.
No, no. I think
Yeah.
everything is pretty good.
Hmm.
I feel like.
You
Oh, sorry, you going?
you pointed out the burp thing, but I didn't even notice that. So
Right.
I think it was good still.
And it's not noticeable, which it's
Hmm.
done very well. It's just when you, as someone who like works with sound and stuff and knows that with film, you know that that's how that has to be made, but it's very well placed over. I love the music in this film too. Um,
Hmm.
you got a little shooby dooby in there, so I think that's good enough.
Doobie doobie. I feel
Shooby
like
dooby.
sound is kind of like lighting. Sound and editing are same as lighting.
Same.
It's
Yep.
like you either notice it or you don't.
Yep. Exactly. Which is why I think this deserved 3 stars. Gonna take that to mean that you guys agree.
Wait,
Three
three
stars for the
stars?
sound.
Yeah, so these are
Nah,
three out.
I'm giving. I'm.
No,
Oh, out of three.
this is out of 3 for these next
Yeah,
two
I was
Oh,
about to
films.
say. I
Sorry.
was about to say.
Yep.
yes, three.
Okay. 3 out of 3 stars.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
three.
And then lastly, for editing, I don't have any qualms. I don't think you guys do either. Um, strung well together, the scenes, nothing was confusing ever. Um, and flowed really well. So,
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
it was good.
cool. So, with that being said, our final category ratings are screenplay is 3.5 stars, costume design is 3.5 stars, acting is 5 stars, setting is 5, lighting is 5, sound is 3 out of 3, and editing is 3 out of 3. Um, of a possible 31 stars, Elf has received 28, which is a 90% rating or 4.5 stars out of 5. Um, I usually compare against Rotten Tomatoes, so let's see what Rotten
Ouch.
Tomatoes says. This is something that I forgot to write down beforehand. Um, so we said 4.5 stars out of 5, 90%. And Rotten Tomatoes agrees at 85%, uh,
Okay.
which is near 4 stars out of 5.
Look at us. Look at
Yeah,
us, little movie critics. Oh my
yeah.
god.
Look at us, we're professionals. Um,
I could do their job easy.
Yeah. So, once again, Elf was released in 2003, starring Will Ferrell, James Caan, Zoe Deschanel. Are there any last minute comments or thoughts that you guys would like to add um, before we wrap up this here podcast?
Let me see.
On the movie or overall?
Overall, the movie, any thoughts that you guys are thinking of? Um,
I think Will Ferrell should be hired in more Christmas movies.
I concur.
Was he not?
No, I mean like nowadays, like even
Yeah,
now.
Oh, oh,
Will Ferrell, if you're
oh.
listening to this, do more Christmas movies, even if you have to make
Yeah,
it.
that
Yeah.
shit was funny.
Yep. Um. So, hearing none, this has been the official restart to the Screenwrite in podcast format. We will be back next Saturday. Um. On what day is that? December 31st. So we'll be back on New Year's Eve with Star Wars Return of the Jedi. If you watch the original screenwrite, I say that we're gonna do all 9 movies, which we're not. I'm not gonna subject us to all of that. I know I could probably make it through that, but not sure about Dion and Lauren. So uh, if it's heavily requested, we will come back to it sometime down the line with the next trilogy. But for now, we'll just go with Return of the Jedi, and then from there, we will find some new movies. If you guys have any movies, make sure to go to the YouTube version of this podcast, which can be found at the Demize Studios channel on YouTube. Demize Studios. Leave a comment. Say like, I would love to see Halloween. Um, Father of the Bride. I don't know. I'm just naming out movies. And also for all of you guys, if you go to patreon.com/studios, we are currently revamping the tiers that you can subscribe to. You get complete Discord access and access to some patron only posts. Um, Not this time around, but next time around, we'll probably, I haven't even shared this with you guys yet. Sorry. We'll probably add on like a little 5 minutes extra to the patron version and have like a little bit of an extended cut, just so that way, you guys have reason to subscribe. Um, but yeah, in the meantime, everyone, this has been the Screenwrite podcast. My name is Matthew Roth. Lauren and Dion, thank you for coming. Where can they find you
Course.
guys?
In the
Dion?
North Pole.
Or in the South Pole.
What you trying to say, man?
What?
What you trying to say?
You trying to say black people all from the South?
No.
All right. Thank you guys so much for
Thank you
watching. You
guys
can
so
follow me
much.
on
Thank
Instagram,
you.
Twitter at Pinky Ruth. You can follow Pin Badgley at Pin Badgley on everything. Neymar Jr. at Neymar. Whatever.
Thank you all so much. And we will see you all next week. Goodbye. Goodbye,
I
everyone. I'll miss you. Take care. Goodbye.